Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Wrong Ones. We are now going to be previewing the team that finished fifth last year on net run rate, which they have done for the last, I don't know, like 3 years, 2 years. I don't know, I've lost count now. It's going to be the Kolkata Knight Riders, who, unlike the Punjab Kings, have not changed their name or anything. It's just the same Kolkata Knight Riders, added a few players here and there. I think, according to me, had the best auction out of all the teams this year. So let's see what we think. I mean, it's just the three of us today, me, Noor, and Kabir. So we're going to be previewing KKR because for some reason KKR fans, like we said last year, are tough to find. So if any KKR fans want to be on this podcast, just shoot us a DM. Maybe you can come on. Anyway, let's move to actually previewing this team. And what do you guys think? What are your initial thoughts about the KKR team this year?
Initial thoughts are that the fact that they've retained most of the team that they had last year is number one, a great thing they've done, and number two, they've got replacements for anybody who they might not play. So they've got replacements for all their overseas players, and they seem to be a pretty well-rounded squad. Um, yeah,
Fair enough. Yeah, Noor.
I was just looking through their squad. I agree. I think they had a good auction. Their all rounders are a bit concerning. It depends on like I think their form is going to really kind of decide how KKR season goes. Um, but if they're great, I mean their batting looks great. I'm glad Morgan's gonna be captain from the very start of the season. I think that saves a lot of like time and energy of like everyone in every podcast discussing whether DK should be captain or not. Like, so I'm glad we don't have to have that conversation anymore. I'm a bit concerned about their spinners. Um,
There's a lot of
like
them, man.
there are a lot of them, but like they're like me, like Varun Chakravarti's fitness has been an issue recently. Kuldeep Yadav kind of sucks now. So
Let's
to
put it
put
out
it
there.
kindly.
Kuldeep Yadav kind of sucks now. Anyway,
Yeah,
yeah,
he doesn't suck. He's just not performing to his potential.
that's
no, he
true.
That's
kind of
what my
sucks. It's actually true.
yeah
He does kind of
Yeah,
yeah.
suck.
so I think I agree with you guys. I think they're one of the best auctions. I feel like this is the only team that strikes me as a team which has four starting foreigners and then four exact replacements for those foreigners. Like actually, like they've got Cummins, Ferguson, um, Russell Cutting, Narayan Shakib, and Morgan and Tim Seifert. So I mean, they've got literal like for like backups for each of their four foreigners, which is very rare. And they've got, I mean, they're Indian players. They've got a lot of Indian players. Most of them are young Indian players. They added a couple of good options. Like I think Karun Nair was a smart buy, and I think Harbhajan Singh.
Karna was a great buy.
Harbhajan Singh, before we forget that he's still around, he's there at KKR as well this year. So I mean, if they can get
Yeah,
him,
it's a small. Sorry, keep going.
I think get him to play as like a coaching role, who and play maybe one or two games, maybe like if they have a game in Chennai or something and they need to use Harbhajan Singh, they can use him there. It could honestly, Harbhajan Singh could be the reason that Kuldeep Yadav turns his career around if Harbhajan coaches him properly and like just gives him some tips about being mentally strong. You never know; it could really turn Kuldeep around for the Indian team.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say it's a small price to pay for to have a player and a coach in
Yeah,
Harbhajan. For Kuldeep, for Varun Chakravarti, um, these they got some young spinners who could do with some mentoring.
yeah, for sure. I think also, I mean, for me, one point I wanted to talk about. I want to know what you guys think. I think this is a huge season for Shubman Gill. He's just broken into the Indian team for the Test team, and he's like going on tours for ODIs. Not he's not made the T20 squad as yet, and there's a bit of a confusion around where exactly is his role. Is he going to open in limited overs? And he's come out and said the famous words that KL Rahul said last year, which is that strike rates are overrated. We all know how that has gone for KL Rahul since then. So, I mean, I hope for Gill's sake it doesn't go the same way for him. What do you guys think? Gill, big season?
Has to be,
Yes,
no?
I mean, yeah, all the indicators are pointing towards that direction, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's been performing well. Like he hasn't played for a while, but he's so good, and if he doesn't, and honestly, if he doesn't bat well, then Kolkata doesn't really have a strong shot. I feel
Yeah, and I think at the end
Gill
of
is that important to them.
I think at the end of the day, also this team, whatever you might say or do, comes down to the two West Indians in the middle, because they are the two true born and bred match winners that they have. And if they turn up, if the Russell turns up from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, then KKR will be very, very hard to beat, and they will be honest, like they will never be out of a game because Russell can win you a game from literally anywhere and nowhere at the same time. So I mean, he's just unreal if he turns up. But if the Russell from last year turns up, then I mean KKR are going to have to be open and ready to dropping him, because they were really reluctant to drop him and Narayan last year, but they have to realize that they've got good options this time on their bench in Shakib and cutting. So they should use those options if they're not performing. But I think Russell, I mean, he hasn't played since the last year's IPL, but he's I think spent from what I was reading, he spent time at one of the like the American, was it baseball or basketball franchises, like training facilities. He's been working there and like getting his body in shape and really learning from their style of like fitness. So if he's come fit and firing, then it's a good sign for KKR.
That's a huge sign for KKR. I mean, if Russell is fit, he's unstoppable.
Yeah. I mean, he just
But
has to
shame,
touch the ball for it to go to a six, no?
And
exactly.
also he adds so much balance with his bowling.
Yeah. And he wasn't he more effective with the ball last year than he was with the bat,
Yeah, it
really?
was a bit of a Glenn Maxwell effect going on last year.
Yeah. Yeah. I think more than Russell, you know who I'm concerned about is Narayan. I think with him, he's the bigger concern. His bowling action, see now, I think he'll be fine this year in terms of his bowling action. He picked up some key wickets last year, but he needs to just be more consistent with the bat. He needs to be more dynamic.
Yeah, I think also with
I don't
Shakib,
think, sorry, yeah, go on, Kabir.
sorry, with Shakib like nipping at his heels as probably the best, one of the best all rounders in the world. The fact that he's so underrated is ridiculous. The fact that Shakib is nipping at his heels for a spot is also something to take into consideration, because if Narayan doesn't have a few as a bad start to the IPL, we could see Shakib in quite early.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think like, especially given that this year there's really for me no space for Narayan up the order. I definitely think that he's he's looking weak. His bowling is there's going to be his bowling that saves him in the team this year. He has to bowl properly. If he doesn't bowl properly, I think Shakib comes in pretty soon. And if not Shakib, maybe even like they bring in Ferguson instead of him, and then play another Indian spinner, because they've got like two, three good quality Indian spinners. So they've got the options, and Ferguson is very tough to keep out of the team. I mean, we'll get to that when I give the team that I would pick for this KKR franchise. But yeah, I think they need to really be ready and open to dropping their two West Indians, especially if they're not performing. And I think they have the other unlucky advantage. I mean, it could work both ways of having an overseas captain, right? Because overseas captains are such a the thing with overseas captains is they have to be on form from the beginning. Okay, they've got probably the best overseas captain you can get in terms of like
It's
captaincy,
in
pure
Morgan.
captaincy. Yeah. But if Morgan batting form is not there, then they're going to be in a spot of bother, because they can't even drop him. Like they can't tell him, okay, you sit on the bench for a couple of games. So they've got to hope that Morgan makes it with the right form and in the right frame of mind, and he's recovered from his injury. Because if he's not recovered from his injury, God only knows who's going to captain this team. I don't think they're going to go back to DK. It's probably going to be like Shubman, Gill or something to captain for that one game, or maybe Pat Cummins. Let's see.
Can you imagine if Shubman Gill is captain, Sanju Samson, Gill, and Rishabh Pant, captains of IPL franchises?
Yeah, but I do think Gill is the future. Like I think their future idea is
I agree.
captain eventually.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I just think it'll be cool.
he walks around like the captain already. He's got that swagger.
Yeah, for
Yeah, I
sure.
mean, bro, everyone can walk around with attitude. You have to actually back up that attitude with what you do on the field.
No, of course.
He
But
has so
there
far,
are some
no?
people when you see on the pitch, they look like they hold themselves like leaders.
Okay,
Yeah.
Kabir has been doing some psychological analysis of
No, I mean,
body
come on.
language. Okay.
No, you know what I mean, Ahaan.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I get it. It's like when Virat Kohli was younger. You always
Yeah,
knew it
exactly. He's
could
got
be
that
him.
swagger about him. Like he knows he's one of the best players on the pitch. He knows he's one of the best players in the world. Like he knows who he can be and who he is. So
He needs to sort his
um,
game out against the in-swinging delivery. That's all I'm going to say.
yeah, it's true. He needs to close that gap in bat and
Yeah.
pad.
But yeah, let's move on to the team that I have picked for KKR this season. So here's how it goes, guys. I
Are
know.
we going your team, or are we gonna do like one by one?
No, my team. We did the one
Can
by
we
one.
guess?
We'll do the
Can
one
we
by one for
guess?
Delhi. It's
Can
just
you
gonna
guess?
make the, it's just gonna make the team selection longer, but okay, cool.
Doesn't matter. Let's just guess. Noor, do you want to go first?
Shubman Gill.
Correct.
Number two. Actually, that's a tough one. I've kind of. Oh, Narayan.
No, I'm not gonna Ryan opening. He's batting at
You
8.
haven't got him opening. Damn. Gill. Karunai.
Yeah, I've gone with Karun. I think the toss up for them is between Karun Nair and Rahul Tripathi. I've gone with Narayan. With Nair. Sorry, not Narayan. Nair. Karun Nair. Because I just feel like he's classier. Tripathi looks a bit out of place against high class fast bowling. And Nair is, I mean, God, he's got a test triple century, man, for what it's worth. So
If only that translated to success in almost everything else in the world.
yeah, I think he's probably a good option. Otherwise, they can even look at like someone like Sheldon Jackson if they want. But I'm starting with Karun Nair. Anyway, third player. Noor, do you want to guess? It's pretty easy.
Ritesh Rana.
Correct. Moving on. 4. This is like picks itself right now.
Owen Morgan.
Correct. Noor. 5.
DK.
Correct.
Or did you go Russ?
No,
Yeah.
I went DK at 5. Kabir 6.
Mhm.
Russell.
Yep, that's it. That's my top 6. Now when it gets interesting. Okay, 7.
Narayan.
I've put Narayan / Shakib. I can see them going either way. If they put Shakib in, I'd play him at 5 and move DK and Russell down 1. But I mean, Narayan will probably start just because he's Narayan and what he's done for the franchise. So yeah, Narayan. And then 8.
Cummins.
I've again put Cummins Ferguson. I'll go with Cummins to start. But I think Ferguson, honestly, that might be radical opinion, but I think Ferguson is a better T20 bowler than Cummins is.
I agree with you, but I just don't think he's a better package.
What, like, as in with his batting?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But if he's batting at 8, do you really?
No, I know. Of course. I just think that the difference between their bowling is smaller than the difference between their batting.
Yeah, but
I
it's
think
about what you
Cummins
need.
is a much better batsman than.
I agree. So if you're playing Shakib,
Ferguson is a better bowler.
if you're playing Narayan, I'd say I'd play Cummins. But if you're playing Shakib, I'd probably play Ferguson. Like,
Yeah,
anyway,
that makes sense.
anyway, that's the
But
8.
Cummins is one of the best in the world. So.
All right, 9. Noor.
Are you gonna play Mavi? Or
That's at 11. But yeah, I'm not playing.
they're all kind of bad 11, no?
I've so here's I'll finish the 3 actually for you guys because you won't guess it.
Krishna?
Varun Chakravarti for sure is one of the 3.
Nagarkoti.
Yeah.
He's at 9. So now my toss up was, do I take 2 Indian pacers or do I take 1 Indian pacer? I've gone with 1 Indian pacer, which is either Prasidh, Mavi or Nagarkoti, and then another Indian spinner, which is either Kuldeep or Bhaji.
Bhaji's not going to play on.
He might not play all 14 games, but he's a good option to have. Like if you have a team with a stacked with left-handers, I mean, you could definitely throw in Bhaji to just throw cat amongst the pigeons. And if you're playing against Chennai,
So you got 4. So the KKR like 4 bowlers and then Narayan, Russell ideas.
there's Narayan, Russell, one of the overseas quakes, Varun Chakravarti, and then either 2 seamers or 1 seamer, 1 spinner.
6, yeah. That works.
And there's Nitish Rana if he needs to bowl. So I don't know, what would you guys do for the last 2 slots? So do you go Kuldeep and a fast bowler, or would you go 2 fast bowlers? And who's the fast bowler?
Where are they playing?
I'm not sure of the exact schedule, but I
If they're
think
playing like in Wankhede, due to pacers, if you're going playing in Chennai or somewhere slower, we play 1 spinner, 1 pacer. I think that just depends.
Start in Chennai.
So then you pay the extra spinner, no?
Yeah, they start in Chennai, but then they move.
If there is any surface that's going to help Kuldeep Yadav, it's the Chennai one. So
This is true.
So then I think you pay the extra spinner.
Yeah, I mean, Kuldeep Yadav, I guess this is now a make or break IPL, especially given the big auction next year. He's got to do something now to save his career. Otherwise, it's in serious danger of falling off a cliff.
Yeah, I don't think you play the extra spinner. I think having 8 overs of for sure spin is enough. You're gonna have Chakravarti bowl for.
But I mean, Kabir, the reason I went for that extra spinner is you've already got Cummins, you've got Prasidh, Mavi, Nagarkoti, whichever one you choose, and then you've already got Russell. That's already 10 to 12 overs of pace.
I would go for the spinner because I feel like Chennai eats up pace. Like the surface just eats it up.
The Chennai surface.
Like
yeah.
I would go for the spinner.
So if you were going for 1 or 2 quakes, who would be your options?
I would take Prasidh Krishna and Nagarkoti.
Same.
And if you had to choose one,
Krishna, because he has a India cap.
I
Yeah, there's a bit
I know. I feel like they will
about
go
that.
Krishna because he's got an India cap. I wouldn't go Krishna. I'd go Nagarkoti or Mavi. They've got more.
I don't think he's necessarily the best of those three.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
don't like Krishna as a package. I just don't think he bowls a lot of floaty balls that can be put away like quite easily.
Yeah,
He's
he
got
bowls pretty quick. It's just nothing.
and I mean, I don't know. Man, I was so upset last year. Nagarkoti didn't live up to the hype that had been for 2 years. You know how we were all talking about the Nagarkoti hype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He never really lived up to it. So I
He
mean,
didn't play enough either.
yeah, but let's see if he can this year. He can do something that really like justifies that hype. Because I think again he's another one.
Yeah.
I feel like with the under 19 cycles, it's in such a way that one cycle finish. If you get bored on your cycle, and then if you don't make it, then by the time the next two cycles happen, then you kind of like get forgotten. And I think he was a 29. He was a 2018 or 29. He was the Prithvi Shaw cycle. I think it was 2018. And after that, there's already been Kartik Tyagi, who's already made it to the Indian team faster than either him or Mavi. So I think him and Mavi really need to pull their socks up because otherwise they might even find it
I
tough.
think Tyagi's been a little bit healthier as well than those two.
Yeah, but I think they might even find it tough to get a contract next year if they don't manage to have a good season this year because there's so many now Indian up and coming fast bowlers.
No, I think they'll definitely get a state contract. That's not an issue.
No, IPL.
Oh, right. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think they probably will. They're probably
I
the
think they
best.
will as well.
I hope for their sake they have a good season. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
Prasidh will probably start ahead both of them because of just the fact that he's played for India recently. So yeah, what do you guys see as like the biggest weaknesses for this team?
Honestly,
I think this team relies on a few players.
That's
Yeah.
most-
If they don't work, like they don't work. No, but like if Andre Russell and Narayan don't work in the way they want them to, the team kind of falls apart in the way other teams don't necessarily.
Yeah. I think the Indian bowling is probably the weakest point. I think that if Kuldeep is not playing well, we haven't seen Chakravarti since his injury. If Prasidh Krishna is obviously very expensive, and Nagarkoti and Mavi are young, so after that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, and I think Chakravarti needs to work on his fitness, man. If he wants to make it to India, he needs to pass the test, and I think we need him. I think he's actually the front runner. We've been talking a lot in these podcasts about the spinner slot in the Indian team. I think he's the front runner if he can get his fitness right because he's been selected also a couple of times. He just hasn't got his fitness ready, and I think he needs to just get there and make it. And I think I can see if the Indian players are not performing well, I can see maybe Bhaji getting a go because of the sheer experience he's got and he brings to the team. He'll be a 10-man fielding unit, but I mean, it's worth the go for the bowling if you need him. So yeah, I mean, that's the rundown, I guess, of the weaknesses, strengths, and the 11 that we would have picked for KKR. So let's go to the final segment. Where do you guys think they're going to finish and who's going to be the player of the season? Kabir?
I think they'll finish third or fourth. And I think that player of the season will be Shubman Gill.
He needs to manage a higher strike rate, but okay. Noor?
I think they're going to be
But we all-
competing for that fourth spot again with RCB. I want to say Pat Cummins is going to be the player of the season.
Fair enough. I'm going to say they're going to finish, they're going to be competing fourth, maybe third with like SRH, them, and like, all of those teams. Maybe RR also and Punjab are going to be in there. So I think they'll definitely like be within that area. And I think that player of the season is going to be Andre Russell. I think he's going to have a big season come back. Like, I just feel like he can't have two bad seasons in a row. He's too good a player and he's worked on his fitness. He looks like he's fit and ready to go. So I just feel like he'll want to make an impact now also to earn himself a big contract next year. I feel like we're underplaying that part also that this IPL the big auction next year means all of these players need to play for their contracts again and retentions. So I can definitely see him try to put in some extra effort this time maybe to get that contract. So yeah,
I think that's with anyone. I think that's a big thing probably that a lot of the overseas players especially are thinking about coming to this IPL.
Especially those who have a legit shot at being retained, like, and who are not confirmed. Like, okay, I'd say Rabada is already confirmed retention, right, in Delhi.
Yeah.
Or maybe like over here, there isn't really a confirmed. Russell needs to have a good season. Cummins, Narayan, Ferguson if he gets a chance. All these guys, Morgan even, they're all like around the fringes. They need to make sure that they up their season.
Mm. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the preview, sorry, of KKR, where we think they're gonna finish, how they're gonna do, what are their strengths and weaknesses in this IPL, and who we think their 11 is gonna be. Thank you guys for watching. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and we shall see you guys tomorrow with the preview of RCB and Sunrisers, I think. Yep.
Yeah. Cheers.